Hey everybody, we're live again. Thanks for checking out my stream. I'm Dustin Brett, software developer up here in Canada, Vancouver area. In this stream, we're building a OS slash desktop environment slash web browser, slash web desktop. We might have a web browser at some point, but we're not quite there yet. But just this kind of all-encompassing thing that we're building, this behemoth, labyrinth, whatever you want to call it. I have high hopes for it. Anyways, we'll discuss a little bit of my future plans for it as time goes on this year. We'll discuss today what my plans are for the upcoming year. Feel free to interact in the chat, throw a message in there. If my OBS streaming software crashes on me, I'll be back within moments, seconds. But it's had some freezing issues lately, so I'll just warn you guys now. If you like what I'm doing, you're interested in the project, you want to see more of my videos, you want to just keep up with what's going on, throw me a like, throw me a subscribe, ideally. That keeps me motivated, keeps me thinking people are interested and in the project. And I like being able to give my subscribers kind of little nuggets here and there. And as the streams go on, it's going to be of some value to be my subscriber. Not only in regards to the project itself, really, if you want to keep up with it, but maybe one day it'll be cool and you guys can say, you were there when I was building it, before this thing turns into Skynet and takes over the world. Which is not my plan, but who knows what happens, I do actually have a long-term plan to kind of add like an AI type of thing in there somewhere, an assistant. Kind of like the Cortana, whatever the heck Microsoft uses. The thing I turn off so quickly, I don't even remember the name of it. Powered by Red Bull Green today. Dragon Fruit, which I guess is a new flavor. It doesn't say new anywhere. It's a summer flavor. Maybe they had it last year. I don't know. Anyways, it's not so bad, but not my favorite, honestly. I prefer blue. What's the order? Blue, red, purple, I would say. And then the diet. I actually prefer the diet to the original. Diet original, and then this is probably better than the yellow one, I guess. I don't know. There's other colors, but I forget from time to time. So yeah, I'd like to get into what I was saying about the future project plans really quick. Just kind of dive into that and just kind of show you. If you guys see behind me here, the whiteboard right there, I've updated it and I have it in front of me here and I can show you guys. Here it is right here. Oh, I forgot to add a little picture of me. So I've disappeared from your screens. I want to come back. 1 second here. How do I fix it? There we go. I'm back. I'm going to make myself a little smaller here and throw myself in the corner. Get in the corner, Dustin. There we go. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys. This is my whiteboard here and give you the ability to zoom in on it a bit. So this is I have a name plan idea. I don't know how you guys think about it, but if you guys know like Daedalus, I don't know if it's Greek, Roman mythology or something like that. I barely know myself, but it sounded like a cool name, and I've thought of the name Daedal OS kind of. And Daedalus, I guess, has stuff to do with like the labyrinth and that kind of thing, and it kind of feels like where the software project's going. So yeah, we'll get into, after we go through this, I'll kind of show you where we are now, but I'll just kind of go over quickly what we have planned for the future at least. So yeah, for the windows themselves, the moving dragging windows, I still need to do a menu bar so we can have like file menu, about, help, that kind of stuff, like a normal Windows program has. We definitely need that to add a lot of functionality to each app. When you minimize, currently, as soon as you press minimize, the app goes into the background. I want it to stay in the foreground until the minimization is done, because that's how it works in Windows. If you open several windows and you don't move them, then they start to cascade and kind of go slightly down, slightly to the right, I guess. I want to have that feature as well, but it is a little tricky, like I say, because if you move one of the windows, then it still remembers where that window was and it cascades below where it was. So I don't know if it's more complex or it's more simple that way with the way they've done it. I guess we'll see when I try to implement it. Restore maximized. Right, when I maximize and I close the window, it doesn't restore properly. Almost a bug, really. Same with max auto resize dimensions. sometimes when it auto resizes the windows, it'll go bigger than it can. And then as soon as you touch it or try to move it, it like shrinks back into its little container. Don't restore off screen. Yeah. This is only when you really switch devices between, or I guess if you resize the window, you open something way up over there, then you make the window smaller. When you reopen it, it kind of is somewhere you can't touch. So that's wrong. This list is too big. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, and I realize. So this is the gist of it, though. Like you see here, I got start menu stuff I got to do, taskbar, file manager, the context menus, the right-click menus, that's a big part. Having a light theme, different icon optimizations. These are all things I want to get done before we kind of release to the public. Tweaks to the file explorer, the dialogues, JS DOS, the v86 software I got, WebAmp. I need to get my IDE finished. A couple more emulators we definitely want to have, along with some CLI tools like Git, ImageMagick, FFmpeg. These are things that are going to be built in so that we can like right-click a picture and convert it to whatever we want, or a movie or an audio clip, and we can clone a repo and then open that repo in the IDE and make something, turn it into a zip, and then open that zip in DOS or whatever, you know, and it just kind of turn it into some kind of crazy development environment, or who knows what, you know. At this point, I'm just going to keep adding features until somebody finds a use for it, you know, because I don't, that's not my department, you know, I'm just doing the coding. And that's actually probably a good segue into the next little piece I wanted to discuss with you guys, which was, in my notes I put here, what are my motivations? I didn't fill it in, so it's a question to myself, I guess. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that as far as side projects and why people do them. I already have a good job. I don't want to put this on my resume necessarily. I mean, obviously I would and will in the future if I switch jobs or whatever. If for whatever reason I'm having to present this to an employer, I don't see why I wouldn't. But I really do feel like I'm just doing it for fun and for myself, and for the stream, and for people to learn as well, and get excited about projects like this, inspire if I can, you know. But I'm just trying to stick to having fun with it. So I'm hoping that that'll keep me motivated and going through with my plan, which is essentially to do. I mean, my plan changes all the time, but I think my plan is that I want to do like 52 of these streams. Like I've done one every week. We'll see. Hopefully I don't break. I mean, it doesn't have to be 52, but let's just say that my plan is on the anniversary of these streams, which would be like January 1st, January 2nd, let's say, the stream of 2022, that's when I'd like to be like, it's released. And I feel like by that time, with that amount of time, sky's the limit almost, because the list behind me, that's like the wish list almost too. Everything's on there. I mean, I could put a couple more things on there, and I mean, I could always just keep making apps, but if I could get this list done, there's not anything else like that out there, I don't think, as far as just a website that you go to. So, I mean, there's some that are decent. There's some that are really good, like that Windows 93 one, or a couple of the other ones I've seen where they really put a lot of work into them. And I'm hoping to be at that level, basically, where when someone goes to my site and maybe at first they're like, oh, it's just another one of these, I've seen these. Maybe first they notice, oh, you know, it looks very accurate though, you know, or like this really, where are the glitches? You know, there's no, I mean, this is deviating to another topic, but there's a few articles I was reading about the uncanny valley in regards to UI, in the same way that, like, if you're watching a movie, like a CGI movie, there's that uncanny valley when they try to put a face, you know, or a person, and you're like, oh, this isn't quite a person. And that's something that's tricky to avoid when you go into, or that's like a difficulty with projects like what I'm doing, where people know how Windows should be. They know how it feels. So you have to really stick true to it, or they're going to have that feeling like, oh, wait, what is this? I'm not quite in the right place. And I want to try to have them avoid that for as long as possible, and maybe even be surprised and in certain places be like, this feels better than Windows, you know. I wouldn't say that in any way that I am doing better than an OS, but I think there's some advantages to being in the browser and having a very minimized scope, where you could do things that are like, oh, this is better than this exact way that Windows is doing it, because they had a lot of other things they had to consider, you know. But for my purpose, maybe there is opportunities to really wow people there as well. So Anyways, that's my motivations, I guess. And with that, we should probably get into the coding of it. Yeah, it's time to watch me code, I guess. Let's jump into it, guys. So I'm going to jump to the code here. Actually, I'll quickly just show you guys the app, just to deviate one more time. So here's the app as it's working right now. We got our file explorer, and we got a few bugs we're going to fix today. One of them being, so you see I maximize and then I minimize. Now if I try to resize, I'm resizing there, but you can see it's not working quite right. And then another bug I think is if what was the other bug? I open the window. There's so many little bugs. Oh, is it blurry too? Huh. It's got that blurry effect, but that's a bug I'm pretty sure I fixed. So that's bothering me. Let's see what's going on there. I can't keep track of the bugs I've fixed versus the bugs I've added. Okay, it doesn't, well, it does kind of look blurry again though. I don't want to go down this road of trying to figure out why it looks blurry again. But yeah, something's wonky with it. That's unfortunate. Well, let's see if it's the known issue where it's like half pixels. Let's see here. The window position is 747 by 82, if you guys can see right here. So that's actually reasonably okay. We're not going to worry about that today. I'm noticing a little bit of blur here that I thought I'd fixed, but I'm seeing it kind of crop up again in a different place, but I'm just going to ignore it right now. It could be happening somewhere else. I wonder if you can search for like 0.5 in the DOM. Oh yeah, you can, but the things I'm getting are not ideal. What was all that about? Oh yeah. No, none of this really seems like a red herring or whatever you call it. Okay, let's not get too distracted on unrelated bugs. I'm going to completely ignore that bug. So I got WebAmp in here, but I'm not... Oh, I know why I was doing that, I bet, because I was zoomed in slightly. Let's put it at 100%. And now open a window. Oh yeah, that looks crispy. Okay. So that's one little, perhaps, failing of mine, is that it doesn't quite zoom in an ideal way. Maybe I could control that at some point. So what was the other issue? Well, let's just start fixing bugs. So I've kind of worked on a branch here where I've done some work and kind of figured out what I want to do for this episode. So we're going to kind of look through that, but we're also going to improvise a bit and just play around with it. And let's start with what we usually start with, which is the NPM updates. And I think there's some, oh, what happened here? I spelled something wrong. NPM outdated. Must have spelled it wrong. That's so like me. Okay, so we have a couple things here. It looks like, yeah, quite a few. So I happen to have on good authority that this ESLint plugin import is borked right now. So I'm just going to stick with 2.22.1. It's going to update, and I'm just going to undo the update. So I'm going to do npm update, and then I'm going to go into package.json, fix that. I'm going to have to do like 14 things. So the npm update takes, unfortunately, a long amount of time. While it's doing that, I'm just going to say there's another bug too involving the npm test. Is it? I think it's the npm test. We'll have to run a test, but there's a failing test right now, and I think upgrading to Next.js Canary Edition, unless they've released one tonight. Let's see if Next.js has just released one. I'll go onto their site quickly and just see if they're GitHub. That'd be funny. No, 18 days ago. So they're still on 10.2.0. And I noticed in their logs that they've got a few bug fixes. So I'm hoping that this fixes it. I'll show you guys the bug first, as soon as I get this update out of the way, which is taking forever. Do I still have that version number yet? The reason I know this 2.22.1 is broken is it actually happened to me at work. It's kind of funny, like at work, we updated a package and it broke stuff. And then I did the same thing on my side project, and it took me a while to realize it was the same issue. That's the beauty of NPM packages breaking. They break for everyone. Dragon fruit. You know, I don't think it tastes like dragon fruit. They missed the mark, unfortunately, there. What other ones am I going to do? Yeah, I mentioned here, actually. I guess I'm doing this here within my updates. So let's just, so I already had the version number written down there. So now I did change my package .json. I'm just going to change it back. So right here, I'm going to say no. I'm going to get rid of that little up arrow because I'm going to say absolutely you have to stick at 222.1. And that's good there. Now, another update that I noticed was missed, if we go npm outdated, I think Prettier has a bigger jump. Yeah, Prettier here has also jumped. We're gonna do npm I, save dev, and we're also gonna do save exact, because I was reading the docs and that's actually what they prefer you do. So I'm not gonna mess with them there. So I think the save exact, oops, Prettier at, what version was it? 2.3.0. The save exact also gets rid of that up arrow, and it just says, this is the exact version I want. Don't deviate from that if someone doesn't install. So now as you see here, Prettier, yeah, see before it was already no up arrowed, it was exact, and I'm doing the same here, 230. Now I happen to know, because I've already done this, that Prettier 230 actually changed quite a bit in the formatting, believe it or not. We'll also put this to the top here, because we're gonna deal with that right now. Maybe we'll deal with all these things. Let's try that npm run test and see if it's broken, like I was saying. So I think we'll see it's broken. Yeah, kerplunk. And it's something silly, like the from argument must be of type string. It's like, I didn't do anything different with the code. This used to work. So what we're gonna try is npm I next at canary. And canary is essentially like the most beta release alpha version. You know, like the canary in the coal mine kind of thing. So if there's a problem, it's going to happen to us first. But at the same time, if there's fixes, we're going to get them first. So let's see. I just updated to canary. I ran my test again. And what result did we get? Now it passes. So it had nothing to do with my code, as you can see. So there we go. So we've done the updates. We've kept this version. We've updated Prettier, and we've updated the next version. And that is indeed what it looks like here. Now I just changed this manually here, this piece. So I bet if I run npm run ESLint, it should be all buggy because the new version, yeah, see, look, it failed a bunch of stuff. What did it happen here? Wait, why is it? That's weird. It's saying that the import package didn't install. That's wonky. Let's try the latest version and see if maybe they've fixed it in the last few minutes. You know, you never know. So let's do the latest version, and it'll go back to, what was it, 2.3 something or other. So yeah, so you see next is on canary now. Framer motion had an update, and this is at 2. Okay, that's at that. So now if we do npm run ESLint, now there shouldn't be any errors, or there might be one involving this dependency garbage that I haven't dealt with. Let's see. So yeah, there's a ton of stuff. This import no extraneous and import order. Yeah, 377 problems. I think I would have noticed that if it happened earlier. So if we instead run the command and we want to stick with 222.1, and we'll do that save exact thing again so we don't get the up arrow. So we're going back to 222.1, and this time it should say it's installed. So now if I do npm run ESLint, now we might get something involving cyclic redundancy or whatever. Yeah, we got something. What did we get though? 94. It's still a large amount. Okay, this is part of the Prettier thing. What's happening here? Ah, okay, right. So now because Prettier and ESLint work together, now I need to fix all this Prettier stuff because Prettier actually did change as well. Like I said, jumping from version 2.2.1 to 2.3.0, they actually changed a lot of rules. So now if we run Prettier, it's going to actually change a lot. Like, I don't know, like 10 files or something. Or more, maybe. Yeah, so if we take a look at them here, I like a lot of the changes. Like, this before was a waste of space, and now it's from 3 lines to 1 line. Okay, great. Here we go, from a bunch of lines to 1 line. It made some good compromises. Yeah, here as well. It looks like it just has better parsing. I like this format for like these double functions, as I call them. It's done a format like that. I really like that idea. Again, here, it's pretty much just clean things up. I mean, here it added a little space, but it's more legible. I actually prefer it. Yeah, it's just a much better parsing. Yeah, here as well. Yeah, very happy with those. Okay, so now if we run ESLint, I think we're still going to get some bugs, but remember with the new version, it was like 300. And then after, it was like with Prettier, it was like 90 something. Now how many? Yeah, now we got 4. So now it's these import no cycles. So these are really tricky. I understand at a base level what it's saying here about my imports but I don't see the issue, to be honest. It doesn't seem to be causing an issue. I'm not sure if Webpack kind of resolves it, but for now, until I kind of figure it out, I'm just gonna ignore this because I don't want to think about it. So we're just gonna go to ESLint rules, and we're just gonna ignore the entire darn thing. I'm gonna make this smaller, and I think it's right here. Yeah, import element op. Yeah, so import no cycle off. Let's just not worry about that rule for now. And if at some point something, I mean, I'm gonna keep researching it. I hate turning off rules, honestly, unless they don't make sense. Like a lot of the rules I've turned off here are opinionated. Prefer, it's like, okay, I'll deal with that. These accessibility ones I'm gonna have to get to later. Yeah, we use JSX with TypeScript. Prop spreading, I like prop spreading, so leave me alone there. Prop types, yeah, we're using TypeScript. Require default props. Why is this off? Probably for some good reason. Require, oh yeah, the default props thing is stupid too. That's like part of prop types basically. And then the import sorts, yeah, this is explicitly saying error on these scenarios. So for the most part, I'm very strict with following all the rules and all the extensions here. But this cycle thing, whatever, for now. Okay, so we did a bunch of stuff there and we fixed a bunch of things at the same time. We cleaned up some code. So npm updates, next at canary, and prettier upgrades. I'm gonna call them because it's better. It's better. And we won't even mention ESLint plugin import for now. I'm not gonna waste my wording speaking of it, of its failure, you know? We'll just remember, we'll get back to it one day and we'll upgrade it. It's gonna tell us every time, I bet. If we do npm outdated, it's probably gonna complain like, hey, you could update this. It's like, I know, I don't want to. Yeah, but it's yellow because I've locked it into place. And the next thing it's just wrong about, or I guess it's just saying I should stay with latest instead of these are all fine. These are fine warnings. These are happy errors. Just a happy little error. Okay, so we just did those three. So I wanted to do a little bit of renaming. This is pretty minor, but I'm a little tired of this processes thing within system because it's kind of talking about the apps. This piece. It's not really about the processes. So the process loader, I'm going to switch to be the apps loader. I believe, yeah, the apps loader. That was what I agreed upon. And render process is rendering the component part of the app. So I think that just makes more sense. So we're going to have to dive into these files and do the same updating. Render process is render component, and that'll be called render component props. There we go, that's better. Because it's even got a component inside it here. So that makes it just makes more sense. It's just better. Yeah, it's all about the component here. Where was process in this? There's no the word process isn't even there. Oh, here it is. This is one of the other ones I was going to change. What was I going to call this? Component process props, right? Process component props. I'm going to call it component process props. That's not a huge difference, but it's more of a component that has process props. Yeah, components process props. I mean, you could debate it all day. This makes more sense for me. I'd be happy to have someone come along and tell me it doesn't make sense, but until that day, you know. So we got to do a little sorting here. That's been changed to this. That one's good now. This one's the same. No, it's not called process loader now. It's called apps loader. There we go. What else? Apps loader needs to be changed in its file. Process loader is apps loader. Otherwise, yeah, render process should be render component now. Yeah, I think that seems better. So it's got a process consumer, and then from the process, it takes the component and the has window piece and renders the component, and then that gets passed off. And this constitutes what the apps are. It gets it from the process. It consumes the processes, but The things that are being constructed I would call apps. And what I say goes, darn it. Okay, so let's just double check this. So we got a bunch of things wrong here now. I have to update. Where did I already update it? I already updated it somewhere. Nope. Man, I was using that in a lot of places. Okay, here it's updated. So I'm just, yeah, I had to change it in a bunch of places, it looks like. But it's for the better. I should probably run a build command in these scenarios because the build kind of catches stuff that it's, yeah, I don't have things set up properly in my IDE, I guess, because it should be a little bit easier to know which files I broke with certain changes. Like I'm noticing them here because other things changed. It changed the path and the path broke this. But if this file wasn't open and I didn't look at my changes, it's like, just tell me about errors. See, so if I run build right now, something else might appear that I don't even know about. Let's see. Well, I have a sip. Actually, this is growing on me. It's strong. It's got a strong taste. Okay, it looks like it actually probably is going to pass. So I might have renamed all the right stuff. Good, let's close these files then. It built. Sometimes if you run export, it actually still fails. Usually for other issues. Man, a lot of files had to change to make that happen. Let's try to run export too. And yeah, so this is all I did. Yeah, I switched the folder and named those 3 things. Okay. So renamed process loader to apps loader. Yeah, that's enough. And all the things that go along with that. Looks like the file system decided to remake itself right now because of my build command. I'm just going to undo the file system change because I don't care about it until the end here. I'm going to have to add a few files and then while I'm working on certain things. We're going to be working on WebAmp a little bit today, by the way, and we're also going to add zip and ISO reading support to the file manager to be able to open those natively. So the file manager is going to be bulked, you know, he's going to be able to do some stuff. So let's reload the page and see if I didn't break anything. I might have oh yeah, I probably need to rerun npm run dev because I totally updated Next.js to Canary while it was running. I'd be amazed if that did work. Doesn't, clearly. But this should start back up in 3, 2, 1, now. Nice, good timing. And that still works like we'd expect. Oh yeah, the other issue was, watch, so I have it up here, I close the window, I refresh the page. Oh, now it's working. I think at some point I break things so that session wouldn't save, but I'll fix them. There's another bug too. See, I'm clicking the items and they're not focusing. That's because I have something like, I have it where the window keeps grabbing focus. I need it to not do that for the icons. So that's another to do for another day. I have it in my board. It's on the board, I think. Is it? Huh. Yeah, I think it is, yeah. It's in the File Explorer part. So what's next on my list? Ah, yes, the JS-DOS thing. So if we go to the browser here, and I open this, I'm going to open up the dev tools on the right side so I can squish the page a bit here. Yeah, so if I squish it like that and I open up Doom, as you see here, that doesn't look quite right. So basically what I want to do, otherwise it looks okay. So let's close this, go back to the code, and I think my solution was simple enough. So let's go into the style.js DOS component. So this is the wrapper for it, and then here's the canvas. So I've actually gotten rid of the height. I don't think I need to explicitly set the height because we have an aspect ratio on the canvas, and we already have width of 100%. But I need to center it here because if we don't have a height, it goes to the top. So I want to display flex because I'm going to use the flex method of centering. And I'm going to use the place items. Actually, I'm going to be more specific. I think it's just justify items that I need. It's either justify items or align items. I always forget which one, but let's just try it out here. So if we go back to the browser now and we open Doom, we full screen. Okay, cool. So it wasn't place items though. Or sorry, it wasn't justify items. Let's see align items. There we go. So align items is what I needed. So let me switch the console to the other side. There we go. So now you can see that it's doing the way I expect. That's nice. Yeah, cool. That's what I wanted. And if we make it bigger, then it should be okay too. Yeah, that way is perfect. And you see we get a little bit of black bars in the corner here. And if we shrink it more, I think we get a little more black bars. But it handles that nicely. So yeah, that actually looks pretty good. And if we shrink this, it dynamically just works. I like it when that happens. So that was a simple one. And now we have better maximize for JS DOS. So yeah, it was align items. And place items just does align items and justify items. But I only needed one of them, so I don't like to try to apply two. I don't like applying those CSS styles that do two styles when I only really needed one of them and the other one just kind of works. Unless I did need the other one. I don't think I did. Anyways, fixed JS DOS maximize styling, resizing, let's say. Or aspect ratio, let's say. Aspect ratio. Let us say that. Right, here's another tricky one with the load files commands. So I use them a few times. Here's an example here. So I load the files and I'm doing it async. But you see the problem here was that I'm checking for the screen ref current here, but then I load files and then I use the screen ref down here. So in the time it takes for the files to load, you could close the window and then there is no element anymore, and then this was crashing. So basically I just want to take this and bring it down into here and check at this point instead. There we go. So now if we don't have DOS defined yet, but we have a file system and we have a URL, we read the file, we try to load the libraries that are necessary. We check if the URL that we were passed is a zip file, and if it is, we have to convert it to JS DOS. Otherwise, it is a JS DOS already. Now we have everything we need to load JS DOS into the canvas, basically. At that point, we have to make sure the item's still there, or the screen reference is still there. Yeah, especially because this is asynchronous. But in any, I mean, either way, it's some kind of promise. Either way, you're gonna have to wait. Even if it's synchronous, between here and here, it could have. I could close the window. So there's one instance of it. Here it's not async, but I'm still gonna change it to be a little bit closer to where we actually use the thing. Yeah, because the higher you put up that check for the element, as it's getting closer to needing to use the element, there's that opportunity for the user to close it in between there. So you want to have the least amount of opportunity, I think. So in this case, I guess it would be here it's needed. I think we could just put it inside the load files, because all of this stuff happens pretty darn quick. So once the files have loaded, because the files loading can take long. That's one of those that's an unknown. I mean, if it takes 3 seconds to download my v86 stuff plus the ROM, and if you're able to close the window in that time, and it's possible, you know. But at this point, I mean, between here and here, are you going to have time to do anything? Probably not. This is going to be milliseconds here. But this depends on a lot, this line. And is it the same scenario here with WebAmp? My WebAmp needs a lot of cleaning, by the way. I'm hoping to do a bit of it today. Some of it improvised, because I haven't even finished it in the code I'm working off of right now. But it needs a lot of work. It's a mess right now. WebAmp, don't use this WebAmp example as a good example at the moment. It's not done. But for you guys, I'm doing it ahead of time. I'm getting it in here. So where's the container? Yeah, it's the same problem. We check the container, then we're loading the files. That's backwards. When do we need the container? Let's see here. We need it here. So we could just wrap it right. We could wrap it on all these commands. Yeah, here we're just defining what onClose and onMinimize will do. That'll be quick. Here we're actually using the container. So let's take it out of here. Like so. And put it in here. Actually, we'll just put it right in here then. Yeah, don't even waste your time making a new WebAmp, I guess, if the canvas ain't there. If the canvas isn't there, something's gone wrong. Okay, there we go. So yeah, after you've loaded the files, then check if there's still a canvas to put things in. Again, this all needs to change though. I'm gonna have to move this into like a use WebAmp hook, I think, in the very near future, because just like I have a use v86 and a use JS DOS, this WebAmp one is a little sloppy, but there's so many little things you have to do for this one. This one's more complicated than either of the OS emulators. Okay. I mean, in some ways it's not, but it actually has a lot of customization. Some of the docs aren't ideal, but hey, my docs are non-existent, so I know the struggle. All right, so what the heck have we just done here? Oh, wait, were there any more load files? Oh, there's one more here. Oh, for Vanta waves. Okay, in this case, it's exactly fine. I load the files, and then here I'm checking if the element exists. Yeah, I think that's fine. Well, I've never had a problem with that, and it's not like you can close the wallpaper, so I don't think it's an issue there. But in these other scenarios, it is. For WebAmp, for v86, and for JS DOS, if you open it and then close it, could you close it? Yeah. It happened to me anyways. This came up with me with one of the apps, so it's definitely a possible condition. Let's just finish this fix. Check for element when needed, not before. That's the lesson there. So I got a break all here in my text. That's not correct. I'll show you guys what I mean here. I'll show you guys with a drag and drop example because that's how I discovered it. I'm going to open up my extremely slow hard drive. It's so frustrating. I have one of the fastest hard drives that exists and one of what feels like one of the slowest. So when I open up my PC, it's just brutal as it tries to load, to like wake up my other drive. So as you see here, I've just dragged on a music file. I've got my cool effect where when I click it, you see it's all 3 lines. When I click away, it's just the 2. That's really does look quite like Windows. I'm quite happy with that. But as you can see here, DOW and then the N is over on the other side. That is not correct. What I want is not break on all for word break. I want break on word. So I'm going to switch it to break word. And there you go. So you see, so now it's 3 doors and then down at the bottom. Now, an unfortunate part of that is that I've got everything right with the pixels of the icons, but it's still truncating incorrectly. So I started tweaking to see what do I need to tweak to make it be right. And I went into the letter spacing and just modified the letter spacing ever so slightly. And I'm going to show you guys here. So for the letter spacing, I went negative 0.1 pixels. Now, if I do that, as you can see, now it fits. Now it's 3 doors down dash AW ... That is exactly what the icon looks like on my desktop in Windows. So now I've got the exact same truncation, which is what I wanted. And I'm thinking about applying this letter spacing everywhere possibly, like to the clock, to the title bar, to the window. I need to think on it a little bit, but I think this might be a little bit more accurate actually. I might actually just do it. I don't know. Do I want to apply that letter spacing to everything? Let's see, what's another thing? Like this here. I mean, this is a bad example because it's just one letter. Like here. Let's see, if I inspect that, and I do the same thing, letter spacing negative 0.1 pixels. So if we look at the desktop icon there, you see the littlest little over here, this piece right here. When I toggle that pixel level, very subtle, very subtle. But is it more correct? I think it is. To me, it actually looks a little bit tighter. It actually looks a little better too. Let's do it. Okay, so what's that one? That's the styled taskbar entries. So let's go into the styled taskbar entries, is it? No, it should be entry. Where's the entry? Styled taskbar entry, there it is. So the fig caption is here and the letter spacing. And a lot of these numbers I'm going to move over to the theme at some point. I'm going to have a whole episode where I just move pixels over to the theme. Because I do have a long-term goal where all of the numbers and stuff are going to be in there. And then I'm going to try to make another theme that looks different, like a Windows 95 theme or something. And then we're going to see how powerful the theme is and how much needs to change, because certain parts of it, I think, like the start menu, let's say, are so physically different that I don't think the theme the way it is now, it's not just about moving a few pixels around. The elements are going to have to change. So there'll be a bit more dynamicness I'm going to need to have to my styled components, like different types of start menus or something. But one step at a time. First, I'm doing the dark theme of Windows 10, extract out every little piece that's like a number or like a string or something, customizable, put that in a theme, and then see how much. I'm gonna do a light theme first. That's an easy one. So I'll have Windows 10 dark and light, and it's gonna auto pick between them, and it should be fun. Okay, so we just did that for the taskbar. Now let's do the same thing for the title bar, which is called styled title bar. Who'da thunk? Styled title bar. Also has a fig caption. Same thing, letter spacing. Okay, where else? That might be it. I think that's it. Here, here, and here. Oh, right, the clock I said I was going to do it on, possibly. Where's the clocks one? That should be easy enough. Clock, styled clock. It's just time, I guess, here. So it'd be there. Yep. I saw the slightest move, the little hiccup of a motion. All right, so we're going to roll with that, with this negative 0.1 pixel letter spacing. And I'll keep you guys updated if it doesn't look quite right. I was thinking too, in like, let's say 10 streams from now when I have it hosted somewhere, that'll be where like the people that watch this video, I can say, hey, you guys go get a sneak peek, and you guys can look for bugs and stuff and play around with it and whatever, you know, and maybe it'll be fun. Okay, so tweaks to text, just in general. Text spacing / breaks. Okay, another big one there done. So where's the next little minor tweak? Oh yes, the taskbar icon. So this piece right here, that little between the icon and that dash, for some reason that is a 4 pixel space there, but it should be 5 pixels, and it is 5 pixels up here. So there's an inconsistency between here and here, and it's just wrong in one case. So I'm just gonna fix that. I'm gonna find 4 pixels. It's not in a million places. Where is it here? This one here, I think. Yeah, style taskbar entry. Let's see, let's try 14 and see if it moves a bunch. I'm gonna open a window here so we can see it above us. So 14, yeah, you see it shot a bunch there. So I just wanted 5 actually. Just wanna make sure I had the right number. There we go. So we just added 1 pixel, and that represents the same as, if we go to the title bar here, and we look at its margins, I think. Let's just look for 5 pixels and see how many places I used it. Here, yeah, the icon margin for the title bar, you see it's the same. 5 pixels on that side, 8 pixels on the other side, I guess. What's the 8 pixel number, really? Is that what it is? I don't trust my own information. Oh yeah, that's it, okay. So yeah, 5 and 8 now. 15.99 the icon. It's not 16 pixels, it's 15.99. Nice. All right. Minor icon position tweak in taskbar entry. As minor as it gets, 1 pixel movement. But we're slowly dialing it in, you know? This is what it takes until the Windows updates things. So another one here is the clock. And I'm gonna take a screenshot this time and show you guys, because last time I didn't. So the clock, I have a tooltip. If you guys see my mouse here, so when I hover over here, oops, can I take a screenshot of that? I have to press print screen, and I can't do my Windows capture because it actually makes a tooltip disappear. Here we go. So let me go back to my whiteboard, and I'm just gonna paste over top of it here. Oh, moe, that's not what I wanted to happen. This is a large image. Let's make a new picture. There we go. So you see here in the hover, we got that's what it does right now. Saturday, May 15th, 2021. And I'm going to take another picture of the Windows version of that. Oh, and we're just going to show you the Windows version is not quite a bit different, but so the Windows version looks like this. And if you guys remember my version, which I've overwritten now, so the version I had looked like that. So currently there's a bit of a mismatch there. So what I want to do is basically have a format more like that. So to do that, first let's find where we're doing that and that kind of stuff. Here's the clock, styled clock. Where is it here? It's this piece here, I think. Yeah, here's where we pass the date. So for the date right now, we're using this formats.date. Oops, can I just go to formats? No. That's coming from the theme, actually. Maybe it's a little bit weird of a place for it. So you see here in the formats for date, we have weekday we're passing. So we're essentially going to stop doing that. And I'm trying to remember what the alternative is. I think we still need it. Okay, now I remember, yeah. So let's get weekday out of here. So now we're just going to get we're not going to get the Saturday part, basically. And I'm going to close this menu here. So that's going to be called the formatted date. I think, is that what I decided? Yeah, formatted date, let's say that's called. And we still need a date. I'm just going to copy what I have here because it's already simplified and we just discussed most of it. So yeah, so now I've made something called day, and it's the same here, just another new international format. Same with our locale, and this time specifically just getting the weekday. I haven't thought of a nicer way to do this yet. So I get the date the way I want it formatted, which is the May 15th, comma, the full year, you know? And then on a new line, I want to put Saturday. So that's what I do here. So now date has become the formatted date, which is the date I just said, and then this new line character, and then the day. So that's it. That was the only change. And like I said, removing it from here. So now let's see what it looks like. Great. Let's take another screenshot because that's the only way I can show you guys these tooltips. And let's go into Paint and check it out. Check it out, eh? All right, look at that. So that doesn't look too bad. So it's still not a perfect match, unfortunately. But for something that's happening dynamically, and it's the tooltip I don't have so much control over, all I do is say title, and then the browser decides to show it the way it does and everything. But I managed to get that new line in there, so format-wise, it's pretty darn close. I don't currently know of a way to format the tooltip. Let's quickly take a peek and see if that's how possible that is. CSS format tooltip title text. CSS tooltip. Okay. Oh, no. I wonder if it has like a pseudo selector or something like that. How to change the style of the title attribute. Yeah. How do you do it? Oh, this is like replacing it. It seems that there is in fact a pure CSS solution requiring only the CSS ATTR expression. Yeah, but you replaced it. It seems like a replacement. Let's see if it works. No, it doesn't even work. I see the hello world there, but I still see the tooltip that I wanted to replace. So as far as I know, it doesn't work. Well, I'll have to dig into it. Here we go. Global title. Does that say anything? Yeah. I don't know how to style that little thing. But anyways, we formatted it correctly now, so it's got a new line. So we took weekday out of there, and we've added it into the clock. Format, date, clock date tooltip, like Windows. Nice. Okay, we got that behind us. This is another one of those renames. Oh yeah, this is just a bad name I got for it, I think. Is it here? Where the heck is it? Finding it's going to be half the battle. I think it's like that. Nope. Okay, did I wrote down exactly where it was. Where was it again? RndWindow. Let's just go there. Let's go there with the magic of, here we go, current. Oh yeah, so for the RND ref, I have it saying current, but I have default window. Yeah, I've got current window states, so I should have a current window, I felt like. That was what my thinking. So let's say current, but name it current window. And then just update these here. This is minor, but this is just, sometimes I prefer it this way. You know, just to have it accurate, because then you know exactly what you're talking about. So why did I say I need to do this? Remove maximized from RND used depths. Yeah, see here, I have maximized so that when maximized changes, this changes. But I don't think that makes sense. I'm gonna get it out of here. I don't know why it was in there. Let's quickly take a peek and see if anything broke based on that. Specifically Doom. So we got Doom there, we maximize, we unmaximize. Seems fine. So if that stopped it from triggering, great. Looked like it didn't matter. Let's just say RndWindow tweaks. Is tweaks too generic? Yeah. Rename current and no maximized depth. Effect depth. Looks good. A little bit gibberishy. Oh man, my Red Bull's done. Wah wah. Transition active variant should inherit height and width. Right. I know what to do here, but I don't remember the why of it. So if we go to use window transitions, so when you maximize, I set the width and height, but when I unmaximize, it does not necessarily go back. What was the issue with that? I'm trying to remember. Maybe like I resize the window, then I maximize and minimize. Huh. I'm trying to remember the reasoning behind that. Oh, did the handles break again? Oh, okay, maybe it's related to that. Right, I remember the handles were broken. Was it? Oh, it is related to that, I think. So I think it like, yeah. Okay, so let's try it. Let's try this here. So now we'll say for the active state, it's completely opaque, it's full scale, its height is inherited from whatever the other element is setting, and the width as well. And we'll do this alphabetically. So now when I save that, if I refresh, so now when I open Doom, I close it, there we go. So now my resize handles still work after a resize, after a maximize, sorry. There we go, that's better. Oh, it's doing that weird focus thing now. So you see now when I click it, it's not focusing on it, but I'm pretty sure I fixed that. See, if I click here, it focuses, but then I maximize and unmaximize, and now not. I feel like that problem comes and goes. It's so frustrating. Appears to be gone again. Oh, sorry guys, was I was on this, but I don't know if I was showing you guys. I hope I was, but probably I was not. So I was just testing out the minimize, maximize stuff again, and it appears to be working now, at least. So now when I maximize, I can still resize, so that's been fixed. But now when I click a resize handle, it doesn't focus. And it was before, so something's broken there. And if we look in the code, I wanted to see, I have my resize handle loop here. Oh, this is exactly the place that I just removed the maximize piece from. Oh, so maybe it was supposed to be in there. Maximize. Let's put that back so that when it unmaximizes, it reapplies the handles. Now when we go back here, we maximize and we unmaximize. Okay, there we go. So I don't know why the heck I removed that, but we needed that. So that's another bug fix at the same time. Nice. So I fixed the resize handles breaking after maximize and focus after maximize. So let's make 2 notes here. So let's just say fixed resize handle issues after maximize restore. because there were two issues there. One of them I just caused in front of you guys and then undid. So that's those two pieces done. Transition active variant should, oh, I just read that. Sorry, guys. So where are we now? ProcessProvider, right. This was just something I think I was messing around with it and then I decided it looked a bit better. So we have in the index here, and I feel like one of these things is not like the other kind of thing. The desktop, like, so if we're talking about the home and the index, I want to think about that as just the app. I like the idea that it's got a desktop, it's got a file manager, it's got the taskbar, and it's got the app loader. But this provider seems unnecessary. Let's keep the provider somewhere else, I was thinking. So let's get it out of here. Clean that up there. And then we'll just move it into the app itself here with the other providers. And I'll just put it inside this one. And we'll import this. Oh, wait. Let me take my import back from here. Steal that import. And reorganize them. There we go. So the app still works as far as I remember. And now we have our three providers here kind of all together. Our file system, our session, our processes. But it's a process provider because it gives out a process. Yeah, the wording there is a mess. Let's not worry about it. And then within that, we've wrapped the styled app. And then we have the metadata for it and the component. And the styled app, I think, is based on document. I mean, these all work interchangeably. This is the Next.js magic here, but there's not too much to it, and I've tried to make it extremely simple. So I think I've mostly succeeded there. I guess I can make this slightly more generic, or I could turn that into its own function, but it's already pretty small. So let's not overthink it. All right, so moved process provider. Wait a minute, where's this other page? This needs to save too. There. Moved process provider up slightly. So now the desktop has access to the processes, whereas before only the file manager, the taskbar, and the apps loader did. Now I don't think it needs it. Also the metadata too, I guess, does. I don't think either of those need the processes, but I just like all the providers being together. And at some point I might need to rearrange those if I decide, oh, maybe the session can launch an app, or maybe the file system can launch an app, or whatever. I'll have to arrange the order, but because the order does matter, but it only matters depending on what needs what. So we got here set body as an overflow. All right, this later I need to do this for WebAmp. Oh, actually, maybe I can show you guys right now. So we open WebAmp here. Okay, cool. So the issue I have is if you they have their own custom right-click menu, and if you see if I right-click, you see there's that scroll bar there. Dun, dun, dun. I don't want that. That's like their little third-party thing, trying to make an element and get outside of my frame. But we're not going to allow that. So let us go into the global styles, the body, and we'll set an overflow for the whole body of hidden. So nothing should be able to go outside the body. And the body is that. So now when we try it, there we go. So you see the menu is going still off, but there's no scroll bar being added. So if you want to see the whole menu, you just have to bring it up a bit. Now you can see the whole menu. So we're not quite done with WebAmp though. We have a million things still to do with it, which I don't know if I'll get to a bunch of them today. The thing is, so many of them are a hack, and I'm ready for a shorter episode, you know? Some of my episodes are so long, so I'm happy to do a shorter one someday. Anyways, overflow hidden for entire body. And I guess I could have this on the main element instead. What if I do that instead of the body? I mean, it almost should be on the body anyways, but what if we just put it on the actual element itself that matters, which is the desktop? I would hope that everything's in the desktop, but I don't think that's how it works. Yes, I don't think that's how it works. That's the issue, is that the right-click menu gets injected at the bottom of the body. It's just third-party magic, so we'll just have to do it. Overflow hidden for entire body. Good. Yeah. Reasonable, anyways. What's next? File manager in main desktop should have 18 plus pixels for 2-line text. Right. So the issue here is up here. If you have too many icons, let's refresh this. There should be that. Okay. Let's put a few more icons in here. We'll put this one in here. We'll put this one in here. Okay. So we're going to name this a longer name. We're going to say it's to do and when to do it and how. There we go. So actually that doesn't look so bad. That's just because the height doesn't look so bad. Oh yeah, that's pure coincidence with the height. Tell you what, can I put the DevTools inside this thing? No, I cannot because it's an app. Let's go to localhost then and do this. Or sorry, let's go to the browser instead of that little mini app mode. So you see here with these windows here. So the issue is if one of these icons has 2 lines of text, it goes a little bit over. So there we go. So now if we highlight over there, yeah, so you see the minimum there. See, that doesn't look right. And my solution for that was on the file manager here, the bottom padding. So currently it's 5 pixels top and bottom. Let me just make this. This is what I'm editing right here. So it's 5 pixels top and bottom, but I want it to be, what did I say? 5 plus 18 is like 23. Let's try that. 23 pixels. There we go. So now the bottom is 23 pixel adjusted. So if we, how did I come to that number? Basically, I just keep resizing this until this fit the minimum. So you see if I go 1 pixel up, it goes up. So I go 1 pixel down. So that's the minimum right there. And you see if I hover, and then I looked at the in between by doing a screenshot here, and I'll just show you guys in MS Paint what I'm talking about. So basically here's the screenshot I just took. I can zoom in a bit more. Yeah. And then I just measured how much spacing I needed here. So the spacing here is 5 pixels now, and that's what I wanted. I basically want 5 pixels of space on the top and 5 pixels on the bottom. And I want the bottom to start, wait a minute. This is stupid the way I'm doing it, I think. I should just have the OL not go below the taskbar. Shouldn't I? So we got an ordered list here. Huh. It already stops at the taskbar. Yeah, this is a tricky one because I only have a certain amount. I only have like 1 line of space, and then I have this like gutter for the icons, but I need more gutter. So I was thinking maybe if you guys see how the taskbar, the bottom bar is not highlighted there. So the ordered list of icons actually is where I want it to be. So at the top and at the bottom. Yeah, it's good padding, I guess. And in this case, it looks okay. But like I said, if you shrink it a little more, and depending on what people have open or how what resolution they have. So yeah, I'm just going to add those 18 pixels. And my logic for what those 18 pixels are is essentially the space needed for an additional line of text. Now, why is it 18 pixels? I don't know. But like I showed you, I did the pixel math by taking pictures and using MS Paint. So let's do this 18 pixel adjustment. So it was 5 here. There was the setting there. The file manager, padding. Now the trick here is I don't want this on every file manager. Let's try this. File manager dot padding. Where is that? It's over here. Maybe what we can do is we can say if it's like the main file manager, which is in main. So main and a file manager. Let's say the background color is pink in the piece that we care about here. Okay, so you see that's pink, but if I open up another file manager, oh, that's also pink. That's not what I expected. Yeah, why did it apply that rule for that one as well? Is that one also a parent of that? No. See, its parent is section. So why did it get pink? I think I need to do that little direct parent or something. What is it? Here and like that? Is that how it works? No. Is it like this? Just keep throwing CSS at it until it stops doing what I don't want it to do. What's the other option? That's it. Okay, the other option is Googling it. Let's see if Google has any answers here. So CSS only if child of parent. Only child, is that a thing? The only child pseudo-class selector property in CSS represents an element that has a parent element and whose parent element has no other element children. Oh, I get it. That's not what I want though. No. Nope. Yeah, complex selector for parent of a child. Shouldn't be so complex. Yeah, see, it's like that arrow thing, but I just did the arrow thing. I'm doing it in the wrong order or something. Maybe I need to close the window and open it again. Maybe it already applied the rule. No. How do I break the rule? What if I do this? That should just break it. At some point it should be broken. Let's reload this. Okay, it's broken now. How long has it been broken? Okay, let me reload this again. Okay, so that arrow didn't do nothing. Maybe I need to do it like this. Okay. There we go. So now the desktop one, which is the direct child of main, gets the background pink, but the other file managers don't. Okay. So now we can do it. Now we can say that the padding on the bottom should be 23 pixels. Now let's reload this. So now if we inspect and we look at the padding for this file manager, yeah, you can see how there's more green at there. But if we open another file manager and we inspect it, where is it here? There we go. It has the normal 5 and 5 for its heights, for its ones. Cool. So that's what I wanted to do last time that I didn't do. So yeah, the code that I had in my example wasn't working that way. Okay, so increase bottom padding for desktop file manager. Yeah, because we don't want it to overlap with the taskbar. So we need to give additional height for that last icon's double label, I think. Possibly none of this makes sense, but let's just stick with what we got here. So, done. At least this is a fancy looking selector. I'm proud about that. So that's it for the maintenance housekeeping refactors. And now we can get on to some other cool stuff. So one that I'm kind of proud of here is this allow opening zip and ISO in the file manager. I thought that one was pretty cool because that's like how it is with Windows, for zip specifically. Like if you open up, you know, when you have a zip file, if you double click it, you can open it as like a folder almost, and it kind of looks like a folder. So I'm going to do that same thing for now, and maybe I'll tweak it down the road. I'll change the icon to be a zip icon when it's opening a zip or something. But for now, I just want the functionality. So I need to look at my code here to remind myself what it is I did. Let's shrink a few things here that we've already done. So this is the big first piece actually right here. And this piece. This we did. What's this? Yeah, this is, oh, there's so many prettier changes that are going to make my line changes look like I did a lot of line changes that I didn't. These are all the stuff we know about. That's the WebAmp stuff. So I think the rest of the stuff we've already kind of done, and we can just focus on those little pieces here. Did I do anything with v86? No. Yeah, a lot of the stuff I didn't have to do anything with today. Maybe I just had a slow week. I don't know. I feel like I didn't do as much this week compared to some of the other ones. So we'll do WebAmp next, but I want to get to this opening zips thing. What do I need that for? I got a lot of file changes actually. Oh yeah, the file system. Yep. Rearranged. We already did all this. We already did all that. We did a ton of stuff actually, just in a short amount of time it feels like. What the heck did I do here? This is just Prettier again. Yeah, Prettier changed a bunch of stuff. Oh man, really reformatted it. I appreciate it though. For the most part, it seems to have made it smaller. Okay, so let's just start at the most basics. So within the initial, so I want the file manager. When you try to open up, where's the file manager? Files, file manager. So when you open up a file manager, we get a directory. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow zips and ISOs to get passed to the file manager. And then the file manager is going to check if it's a zip or an ISO. And if it is, it's going to do an additional step of mounting that file system before it tries to open it with the typical things that I do. So to do that, we're going to have to add two functions to the context specifically, I believe. And I think we're going to do it in use files here. Well, let's tweak the context first, one thing at a time, because I'm not 100% remembering all of what I did. So first we'll just update the initial context states to say that we're going to have these two functions here. So we want to have a mountFS and an unmountFS function. We'll go into the context state here and define them, which I think I already did somewhere, so I don't really want to waste my time retyping it. I'd like to find it. Let's go back to the code here for just half a second, because I just want to, like I said, I don't want to waste time retyping stuff in a way that makes no sense when I've already kind of thought about it a bunch. That's one of the things that's supposed to be good about these videos, is that I can give you guys reasonably good tips if I've done the research a little bit. So let's go on to the file manager step then. Yeah, I've updated this. Actually, let's go to the context next, because that was the file that I was on. So where is that? That was right here. So I'll do it here in front of you guys so we can all see it together. So I'm going to declare those two functions right here. So the first one's mountFS. It takes the URL and it takes a callback to, what does it do with a callback? I don't even remember. But I need a callback. With unmount, I don't. It's just like, okay, unmount the thing. I'm out of here. But when it's mounted, oh yeah, the callback is so that I know, is it mounted? Okay, I'm going to move on then. That's my logic there. Now let us paste the commands that I've figured out. So there's a few things we need. So we need to get this root FS. It's part of the browser FS package idea for their file system. So FS is like the module to replicate how the node FS works. But the actual file system you can get through this fs.getRootFS command. And that can give you the file system. Now we only need it the one time pretty much, and then it doesn't change. So I'm doing this use memo here to get it. And as long as the file system doesn't change, we got the root FS, and then we can do stuff with it. Because this has its own commands that we can use for mounting and unmounting. Now to do the unmounting and mounting, we need to change our file system actually to be a mountable file system. So if we go into the file system config right now, it's an overlay FS. And we actually want to change that to be mountable. So let me just copy the way I did it, because it's a confusing nesting that I don't want to have to think about. So let's paste that. So basically all I did is I took the overlay piece that we had and I put it in another thing. So now let's just look at a diff here to see what I did. What did I do? Yeah, so I just wrapped. So I took with the overlay FS that we already had and I said, that's root. And this is a mountable file system. So now it makes it easier to add on to this. So now I have root, but I can make another file system that has another, instead of overlay FS, it uses another built-in method that browser FS has. Because browser FS actually has a lot of cool stuff. If we go, I'll check it out again here just to give them more shout outs. So what do they support? Yeah, so IndexedDB is what we're using most of the time. But like I said, we have our mountable file system. We have the overlay one so that we can do based on a JSON file with HTTP requests, and writing goes to the index. And as you can see here, it also supports reading from ISOs and reading from zips in read-only modes. So that works perfect for us. So here we just, we made it mountable instead of just a basic overlay. Simple enough there. Now we have the ability to mount things to it. We're going to pull in the use callback and use memo from React here. So that was the root file system. We need to specify that it's a mountable file system here. When we do get root FS, it can be it just gets a generic file system, but we know it's the mountable type file system type. That helps TypeScript give us the proper information when we do rootfs dot. In this case, it knows about mount and it knows things about it because it knows we have a mountable file system. So then we build the mount fs command. We use the React use callback because we need a callback here. We take the, like we said, we take the URL and the callback, just like we said here. Now we try to read, we read the zip file or the ISO file. I'm eventually going to make this a little simpler, this read file command, but we use it all over the place right now. So then we check if it's an ISO by getting the extension name with our path function. And if it's ISO, then it's ISO. Otherwise it's zip, because we're only allowing those two types of files to even get this, to this mount command, basically. But it could be others. So this is, in a way, this is slightly a bug, because if we have a third file type, this logic is not enough. It's not just a this or that, but currently it is. So we made a what did I do here? Yeah, I made another function here called createFS. But why? Why did I do that? Yes, because I need to reuse it here. Okay, so we got our mount. So within use effect, I need to change things here. I'm trying to understand my code here, what I had to change. Let's just go through the functions. So I made another function called createFS that is something I pass createFS to the BFS callback, and it can be either an ISOFS or a zipFS. These are all types that are already defined. Why is this complaining? A function whose type is declared is neither, oh yeah, I haven't returned anything yet, I guess it's saying. One problem at a time here, one problem at a time. We read the file, we check if it's ISO, or we get the variable for it. We make this function in which we have a new FS. Yeah, it's confusing writing this function before let's ignore this for a second and come back to this, and let's just copy the other piece I need. So basically I need an effect here. Make an effect. This is a really simple boilerplate empty one to start. And what I want to paste inside it is this little piece right here. Ugh, I made a mess here. Let me just try to understand my code. Does that make sense? Nope. What have I done here? What have I done? What have you done? Oh, okay. Darn it. Yeah, this makes no sense the way I wrote it. I'm sorry, guys. So rootfs, where the heck is this? That's correct to be there, but this mountfs should be inside this effect, I think. I've confused myself. No, it shouldn't be actually. That doesn't even make sense what I was saying. Oh, I get it. I made a mess of this. So this piece needs to be here. Obviously, it needs to be part of this. So yeah, I was missing a bracket. That's where all this mess begins. So ignore the fact that I said I need another effect here. So this is the function. So it's missing yet another bracket, that means. Is that enough brackets? Are you not entertained? I need another bracket. There we go. Oh, that made a mess of it though. What is it angry about? What isn't it angry about? What have I done with this refactor? It makes no sense. So that's the mountfs command. Is it just complaining because I'm not using it? Okay, let me try that first. So I want to export mountfs, and the unmountfs is a lot simpler. So you see with unmountfs, again, it's a callback where it just gets the URL and then it does the rootfs unmount of the URL. That's really simple, and now you see why I use rootfs here, and I use it in unmount and mount. That's why I use the use memo to memoize it here. So let's just try to figure out this confusion with what I've done here. What is it complaining about? Expected 2 arguments, but got 1. An argument for deps. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, within use callback, I need the deps here. Is it here? Ah, there we go. And then one beautiful thing I like is autofix for deps. So you just highlight over this, autofix. There we go, that's what I needed. And we'll export this as well. Okay, so let's take another peek at this mountfs now that it's partially working. What is this file system? What file system? What is file system? Is this on the window object? Oh, I think this is something I need to update in types, but if that's the case, I should say window here. Why is it like that? Why are you the way you are? Let's try to find the, yeah, I don't know what it's referring to file system here. Cannot find name file system. Yeah, I can't find it either. I don't know where I came up with that. Did I make a type for it? Why didn't I run into this error before is part of my confusion. Oh, I just haven't imported it. What if I hover over? Can I import it? Yeah, I just didn't read. Like, oh, okay. So file system comes from browser FS. It's just another one of the commands that they allow. This is needs to be tweaked a bit here to import types. Just need to auto fix these to clean them up. These are all types, so I can change this to be type. There we go. So yeah, file system was a function that was coming from browser FS. So now let's once again unpack this mount FS. So we read the zip or ISO. We check if it's an ISO or a zip. We make this create FS a function, but before we see that, let's just say we need to use it here and here. That's why we had to just define it up here. So if it's an ISO, we go file system.iso file system.create, and then we use it data. Because in this case, the object requires data. It's not called ISO data, it's just called data, even though this one's called zip data. So it's a little confusing there, but this is the best way I could think to do it. Because in this case, you use ISOFS, in this case, you use zipfs, and the data object changes. So I had to make two pieces dynamic, and then I messed with the types. This conditional seemed the cleanest to me for now. But I might clean this up down the road. I have so many refactoring sessions left to do. And then, yeah, all that createFS does, so assuming that this create function goes good based on the file data that came from the zip or ISO, then you'll have your new FS here. And if you have it, then you just mount it to the root FS. And then you run the callback. Okay. So what does the callback do? Now we need to go to the file manager, which is here. Let's save this first. So now in the file manager, we need to import those two file system commands, the ability to mount in a file system or unmount it. So if you request a directory read that's either a zip or an ISO, so what we're going to do, I already have the effect that we're going to use. So we'll make another effect that when these things, and these are the dependencies of it. So when it starts up, it's going to check if the directory is something that can be mounted versus just being a normal directory. So this list might change, but for now I'm just hard coding this. Actually, let's put it up here at least. But we'll keep it in here instead of in constants because it's very linked to what happens here for now. But maybe in the future I'll think about it differently. Mountable extensions, let's say. So if mountable extensions includes the extension of the file of the directory that you passed me. So maybe I shouldn't say directory anymore. Maybe it should be URL now. But it's called directory. Yeah, that's a little confusing. Maybe it just never should have been called directory. Let's call it URL. Did we pass it? We call it directory? When do we call the file manager? Yeah, currently we call it directory. Let's call it URL. We even passed it something called URL, so it's kind of confusing. There we go. Or maybe it should be called path. Yeah, path. That's better. Although path kind of overlaps with path import. Let's just call it URL again. So we're renaming those, and we're going to rename these because it just makes more sense. So it also makes the text slightly smaller. But now this is alphabetically incorrect. Elemental PQRS. So URL's at the back of this list now. Okay, that's good. Oh, missed this one here. So we'll, under use effect, we're just going to bring the use effect in. So yeah, so we check if it's mountable, and then if it is mountable and we currently have no files, so not the use files wasn't able to get anything, then we need to mount the FS again. So we mount the FS with that FS, and then the callback just updates files again. So it checks again the same FS command, but now the file system has expanded to this additional one. And then on dismount, if it were mountable and now there are files, then you should unmount it. And that's about it, logically. So let's see where that gets us. So it's completely broken. Nice. Let me reload this and see if it's still broken. Nice, not broken anymore. Okay, so if I open up a file explorer, it still works. I can still open a folder here, cool. So what we're gonna do is we need to go into the file entry functions. I still haven't thought of a good place to put this. Oops. Oh yeah, this is the right place. I want these file extension associations in their apps and their icon references to be part of the app. So eventually this entire file is going to disappear and all these little pieces are going to be in their apps. But I just haven't figured out the mechanism ideally for it yet. It's on my roadmap. I'm not going to make a note for it though. It's every time I look at this as a reminder, so I'm not happy with that. But for now, so right now zips are playing with JS-DOS. So what we're going to do is instead say for zips, use the file manager. There we go. And we're going to do the same with ISOs. So images are still going to open v86, but ISOs are also going to open in the file manager now. Okay, so now let's try it out. So let's see if we have an ISO here. I think one of these is an ISO. Calibri? Okay, that one's not an ISO. That was an image. Oh, and currently this is another bug, I guess, that I can't resize this thing. I don't have a good way to... Actually, I do have a way to close it. I can double click the icon. That's a little thing I have there. So this Linux 4 one is an ISO. So if I click this, before it would have opened Linux in v86, but now it should open it in the file explorer. Or just nothing at all. Nice. Okay, what happened? Debug is not defined. Does that have any relation to my bug? Let me reload this. Images, Linux 4. Oh, I know what I did, I bet. It's not called File Manager. It's called File Explorer. Silly Dustin. There we go. Now if I reload this. Images, Linux 4. Yes, look at that. So now it opened the ISO, just like, felt instant. And we're actually looking at the inside of the ISO file now. And I think shortcuts would still work the way I want. Like in this case, the Linux shortcut, I've told that shortcut specifically to open in v86. So even though it's opening the ISO, it should work. So let me try. Open that. Yeah. So I can open that ISO in Linux, or open it in Linux, run the ISO with v86, or open it and look at its contents by opening it in the file manager. And in the future, I'm going to have an open with setup to make that easier, but I'll have defaults anyways. So that's cool there. And let's also try a zip as well. Now this isn't actually a zip, it's a .js DOS file, so it's not going to do what we want. Let me copy one of my zips that I have on my desktop here. Games. This is also a JS-DOS file, but I'll just name it zip because they're the same thing. So I'm going to drag it onto here. So you see here now we have Quake, and it's quake.zip. So before it would have opened in JS-DOS, but now if I double click it, there we go. That's the folder structure. I don't have scroll bars yet for my file manager, but that's the folder structure of Quake right there. So you see there's the Quake, and you can even dig into the folders within the folders, the pack0 file. And hopefully it's cleaning up when I close this. I haven't completely confirmed. I did some tests earlier and it was unmounting properly. So I can reopen it again. It doesn't break or nothing. And it remembers the window positions and stuff too. So anyways, I thought it was a pretty cool feature. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo this actually in, wait a minute, am I? Maybe not. Maybe we'll keep it this way. I think that's the default for Windows anyways, is that ISOs, I think ISOs, it maybe tries to mount them as CD-ROMs. I don't want that currently. I mean, what I'm doing is almost equivalent to that anyways. But maybe this is okay. Because like I said, I can do direct shortcuts. Because like if you see the Linux, where are my shortcuts here? Public, desktop. So the Linux shortcut, you see, it's pointing to the ISO, but it says base URL, the app to open it in is v86. Okay, so we've done it. We've added zip and ISO support to the file manager. And it was kind of easy because of BrowserFS. And we're going to make those the default for now until further notice kind of thing. So let's do it. So allow opening zip and ISO in file manager. Nice. So, we got to WebAmp here. It's unfortunate that WebAmp is such a mess right now. Let's take a look at it, but I don't know how much I'm in the mood to really fix a lot of it at the moment. Maybe we can make this use Winamp hook, and maybe that'll clean things up a bunch. Currently, most of this is for use Winamp, use WebAmp. It's like, where's the separation? This is for the element. This part's a mess too. For the minimize logic, I don't like that because I want to do it animated. But I've made a hook for handling minimize right now. Yeah, I'm not too happy with a lot of these ones right now. But we still got a good chunk of time. It's only been an hour and a half. I've never ended a stream that early. It's really hot in here though. But let me have some of my water. That'll give me some resolve. Well, we made it through a lot anyways. As far as tweaks and everything. What were some big things I wanted to do with WebAmp? There's some cool stuff I've managed. I've got it now where when you drag in an MP3 and you double click it, it'll read the information and show it in WebAmp. Because as far as I could see, WebAmp wasn't doing that by default. We got the ability to play MP3s because that wasn't working for a short time. Focusing and unfocusing. I understand the commands now, but I haven't perfectly got it all working there. The butter churn, milk drop stuff, that's a cool one too. Let's take a peek at the code and what I've changed here and just see how much we're in the mood to do. Maybe we'll do a couple things. Because I changed too much. And there was this container change, so it makes it look like I changed more than I did. Which is a little frustrating because it makes it a little harder to trace. Where the heck? So I have this options where I pass WebAmp options. Maybe let's just refactor it and not even worry about what I did. Let's just look at WebAmp and see. Because I'm not happy with it. So let's just do a little refactoring fun. So we got the load file piece. This part I'm happy with, okay. This part's fine for now. So this is already wrong. Z-index should be, it can be 1. And it's going to have to change based on whether it's foreground. It's 2 when it's foreground, I think. But for now, it should be 1 by default. And this is going to be the options. I think I made a command to load WebAmp. So what parts am I happy with here? Am I happy with the onClose? I think so. What does onClose do? It gets the main window. Oh yeah, it gets its position. It closes the app and then it sets this. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. So this is for making sure that it saves the window position when it closes. This is for making sure that minimize actually sets the process to minimize. So when you press minimize on Winamp, my process also knows that a minimize has occurred. And this is where you actually load Winamp in the end. This is where we passed in the options. Yeah, this part here is a mess, I think. This is the spacing. Update Winamp position. Oh yeah, so here's where it has to get the position that happened on load. Yeah, I'm pretty unhappy with all of this positioning logic. It's just a mess that's in the way. Let's, for now, this is the centering logic. What is this? Center X, center Y. Maybe this should... Everything here needs to exist for centering though. Okay, so that's what this is doing then. Is like center Winamp. Yeah, I don't like pretty much this entire thing. What is this update Winamp? Or oh, that's like a WebAmp function. I've got these functions. I got stuff all over the place now. Oh yeah, these are just the dispatch functions. I'm actually happy with these. Let us change this to be a constant. Playlist height is 116 actually. Wait, is that how that works? No, that's the main height. Because it's an offset, I think. Is that correct? Is that correct? I think so, yeah. Yeah, you want to offset that by the height of the main element. Okay. So that part's okay. I think we'll have some trouble with this absolute positioning if people start moving stuff around. I'm not sure though, maybe not. So this check here I don't like either, to know if we've had previous data or not. That's because I'm doing this default. I almost don't want to do a default here. I'm almost happy if it just defines nothing. Do I even need to check both? There just won't even be a position, honestly. Maybe I should just grab position and then check that it exists. Let's try to do that. Just for starters. So from the Windows state, I mean, I'm already, can I just default this? Let's go one level deeper and just get this then. That's default. And from it, this is like inception of destruction of variables. But do we even need this anymore? Wait, we never needed Windows state then. There we go. Does that make sense? That looks like an inception here. Okay, yeah, that's actually fine. So initializer provides no value for the binding element. Okay, so you're saying this needs to default by itself. Can it be that? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, position is supposed to be an object. But here, let's say by default it is undefined. Is it okay with that? Yeah, it's okay with that, but it's not okay with doing that. Or is it? No, because then it complains about this initializer thing. So let's just give it an initializer and let's say explicitly it'll be undefined. Oops. So then, what is this? The taskbar height? Why am I getting the taskbar height here when I only need it here? Yeah, there's so many confusing things I'm doing. Let's just make another hook here called center use screen center. This is something I should move into like a Windows hook, but let's just start with, I want a hook that will give me the correct center position to position something. So we'll take the taskbar height out and bring it here. Same with the position. No, wait, do we want the position piece there? I don't think so. Maybe we do, and maybe we just say like use Winamp WebAmp positioning where we look at the old stuff. This seems like a pattern that I can reuse with other apps in the future. Because this is like, I've done apps where they have a window, and now this is where the first app I'm doing that doesn't have its own a window that I'm wrapping myself. So let's say that's like that. Oh, but I can't have a hook this deep in. This is too nested to have a hook. Or is it conditional? It's not conditional, but yeah, it's too nested. I'm gonna have to not, this won't be a hook. This will, if I'm gonna do anything, I'm gonna have to inject it in. So, yeah, that makes it a little trickier. It'd be better if it were a hook. I guess it can be a hook, but it has to be up here. It just has to be up higher to get this information. What is the information I need? I might not even need to know the center position, but I guess I only need to know it once. So the close, basically what it loads it and then closes the equalizer, sets the position ahead of time, and then puts it physically in the DOM where we need it to be. So we just want to make this, simplify this to let's say place, or let's say set WebAmp position, let's say. And what do we pass in? We pass in WebAmp. We have to pass in a million things, honestly. We have to pass this. We don't have to pass this. We can just get. What am I doing here? I do a calculation of the elements to try to figure out the offset. Yeah, this is a messy way to do it. I'm not happy with it all. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just fix this piece of code. Let's put this back here for now. Before we extract this out, let's improve on it, because right now it's a bit of a mess. Wait, now we've lost this. Okay, so if position, then we'll get our previous X and Y from it. What was the code a second ago so I can copy that back? I lost it. Where did it go? No, it was here. Wait, where was I using position X then? Previous X, where was that? Ah, here. Wait, what? This seems, oh, here it is. I'm like looking at the wrong side of my code. Ugh. It's too late. Although it's not, that's a bad excuse. There we go. So, but we have position, so we just need this other piece of the extraction. Position or an empty object in case it's still undefined. That's better. Now what's this complaining about? Is assigned a value but never used. Well, it's used right here. Oh, okay, so that's only in the other scenario. So wait, if there's no position, and in this case there is position, there we go. Okay, so have I, what did I break here? Oh, okay, I needed a little less. Nice. It's good if we can make that smaller. So we open WebAmp. Okay, it opens centered. So that's a good sign. But oh yeah, when would this have been borked? I think it's like what if it were here? I mean, now it's already loaded, so now it's already got a position. Because see, it's taking the boxes and it's calculating the height based on that. I have some logic where it's like calculate keep adding the heights together, but just the width once. I don't want to do this math at all. This is such a silly way to do this, to get this WebAmp size. Yeah, this is what I hate. I don't need to do this. This seems silly. So let's find a better way. So let's get that WebAmp element though, and see what do we know about it. I'm gonna have to find a way to show you this, guys, better. Let's open it in the browser. Oh, we still have our pink one here. So we open WebAmp. It opens in the right place. So here we go. We got it in the console. So there's our item. So, I mean, this is people probably know this, but I only just started doing this recently. Is that if you got the item in the console here, you just right click and say store as global variable. Okay, now I can do stuff with it, you know, without having to get the other stuff. So what element was this? This is like, where's, oh, okay, so main is like deep in here. So you see there's the main window. It's like several layers deep. So I want to know the width and height of this entire container. If we do get client rect, no, what is it, like get client bounding rec? Bounding? Oops. Let's just search for it here. Get client bounding rect. How close was I there? Get bounding client rect. Ha ha ha. So close yet so far. Interesting. So what if we go down the list of items here? So what about, I mean, this one will definitely have positions. This one will have information. What was that, temp 2? So for temp 2, yeah, there we go. That's got the size information that we know about. The height is 116. Bottom 311. What is bottom? I think that's just a positional thing, but I don't care about the position. So that's not good enough. What about this piece here? Let's see this one. So temp 3. Oh, it's got some numbers. No, 0 height, 0 width. I wonder if I take this element, one of those elements, and make them have like, make them fill out somehow. Let's try to look at these elements in the element tree, in the whatever you call this thing, the elements, just the elements. So here it is right there. So what if we set height 100% and width 100%? Whoa, it makes the taskbar big? What does this have to do with the taskbar? That's weird. It's not what I wanted. What about this one that says ID WebAmp, height 100%? Okay, and width 100%, is that? Now it's the entire screen. And is that how that reflects? Have I even gotten to that one yet? That's this one here. Right, that was the original temp 1. So now temp 1 will probably have the entire width of the screen. Height 374. Yeah, oh wait a minute. 374. I think that's the correct height for this element, but the width, of course, is the entire screen. Why did it do that? What if we do width? What are my options? Auto? Let's clear this. Why did that change it completely? Whoa, that's weird. But if width was 100%, did it have totally different bounding rects? Yeah, that's weird. Oh wait, it had a height no matter what. Was that because I did 100%? What if we disable the height 100% and then we do this again? Yeah, now it lost its height too. So that was actually interesting. That element is the one that I wanted. And setting height 100% did allow me to have the calculation of both pieces here. Let's try this. Let's close this. Oh wait, let's make the playlist bigger. And now let's see if the height changes. 374. Oh, still 374. I wanted an easy way to read this height and width. It's not trivial, it seems. This is the element here. What information does it have? It has a translate. Oh, that's just the positional stuff. And that looks focused on main. Oh yeah, these are two different windows here, so it needs to happen here if it's happening anywhere. What if I do width auto fit or something? Oh, that's cool. Here, I could actually see the thing in a... Oh, yeah, it was either... It's like one... In the top left there, you can see it shows the height or the width. So it's like 119 or nothing. Well, wait a minute. Is the height the only thing I needed to know? No, it's not. Yeah, this is tricky. I think this is one of those ones I'm just going to have to keep playing with because... Oh, wait a minute. I know how I could do it maybe. No, I was thinking I could take all the windows and just add their dimensions together, but I don't know where they're positioned. So it just becomes ridiculous to try to calculate this. Let's see what WebAmp has. Does it have anything to offer? Where is the WebAmp element? It's here, I guess. Let's console log that and see if it has like get size or something. Oh, my daughter's having a bad time. Okay, here's WebAmp right here. Oh, right, it's got that store where it's got dispatch, it's got get state. I wonder if get state can give me information that I could use. Options seems useless. Media's got a bunch of stuff. Action emitter, it's got a couple listeners. Let's try this store get state. So can I do the same thing here? How do I make this an object? I want to have access to this, I don't know how to. What if I try this little hack here? Let's try this. Window.Dustin equals WebAmp. There we go. So now if I do Dustin here, nice, there's WebAmp right there. Okay, so Dustin dot, what was it, store? Yeah, store dot get state. Interesting, what's this? Oh, there's a lot of information here. The display, oh geez, there's actually a heck of a lot more information than I expected here. Nice. So Windows, Gen Windows, there's the 3 windows, there's the window order, positions are not relative, right, the equalizer is closed. I mean, it's got all their information there, but I want to know the, oh yeah, no, there's the browser size, that's correct. What I want to know is hard to know, it seems. I wonder, yeah, I wish it was easier to do work with the positioning. I need to contact the guy who works on this WebAmp and like me and him, he could probably help me out, you know? Because I feel like there's a whole other positioning logic that WebAmp is doing and I'm fighting against it by trying to do these adjustments. That's the main issue. Yeah, none of this has the information that I need, unfortunately. It's cool to see though. It's cool to know this information. I might need it at some point. The window order's interesting. This browser size thing is interesting. If it could have used this to center, I mean, maybe it can. There's this position relative thing. What if we mess around with that a little bit? We go back, let's get rid of a good chunk of this garbage. What do I not want to get rid of here? Ugh. Let's just comment out this entire thing. So we got the closing of the equalizer, and then we render. And what I want is, yeah, here's where we specify the positions. What if I say absolute false? And if I say absolute false, then what does it even matter what I put for X and Y? Let's try. And we'll just say 0 and 0. What happens when it's relative and not absolute? So we'll reload here and we open Winamp. Okay, well 0, 0 is correct. What about 50, 0? It's interesting. What if I just don't even specify absolute then? I feel like I was having trouble with absolute before, but it's actually cooperating now. And what if I do 50 down? Well, that's ideal. Okay then, so to calculate that, it's still difficult because I need to know the width and the height to get the position correct. So did I do anything of any value by changing this absolute? Looks like I just didn't need it, honestly. And then does my center position logic thing still work? I guess it's the best I got right at the moment. So if there is no position, then we're gonna add the heights of the elements together and just the width of the last element, which is just bonkers. I don't like it at all. Because what if the last element is like the milk drop one and that one happens to be wider, and then it's just gonna mess up the centering because the width is gonna be incorrect. It doesn't make sense. And then I do the center position. What's center position? Oh, okay. So this is the position, the function I have to calculate the center position. And you give it the height and width of the window plus the taskbar height, in case that's changed. So yeah, that's all about knowing the size. So it's just about, I can see why it's tricky now that I think about it. Because Winamp has this thing where part of it can be over here and part of it can be over there. What I need to do, I mean, the thing is, this centering logic only matters when you've never opened Winamp before and there's no initial position. So I control how it looks by default. So that's actually not so bad. So I can have it, so this logic's okay then. I mean, even better, I could just hard code it if I wanted to. I'm not a huge fan of the logic though still, because it's just wonky. I mean, I could get the windows a different way now, I know, through the Winamp object. Let's just leave this for now and be happy with what we got. So we close the equalizer, we update the position, either centered or pre-existing position. Maybe this I can move out. If I move this out, it would look a lot cleaner. Let's see if we can. Const update Winamp position. I'm not sure what I needed to pass it again. Let's just take this entire thing and see what's missing in the end. So we need the position, which is going to be a position. Yep, and it can be unset. Wait, was this the correct position it imported? Yeah, exactly, that's the one. Missed an equal sign here. That needs to be a type. So what else is missing? The taskbar height. Yeah, I can't use this like a hook, so I'll have to pass that as well. Taskbar height is a string. Yeah, that's silly to pass that, but that's just what's necessary. And the Winamp piece as well. what is WebAmp? What type have I defined it as? WebAmp CI, okay. All right, so you pass the WebAmp CI, you pass the taskbar height for offset. At some point we might just have this living somewhere else, living inside the center position thing. But then this, yeah, that's trickier. We need more hooks. It needs to be hooks all the way down. Otherwise this works. So we pass WebAmp, we pass the taskbar height, and we pass the position. So that looks a lot cleaner now, at least. We have our onClose event, our onMinimize, and our we render it, and then we close the equalizer, we center it, and we render it on the page. Yeah, that's a little cleaner. And for now, we still need this stuff to be here. This reuse, yeah, we get stuff from the session, the theme, and the process. Here's our centering logic here. And this could be moved out to a function now. Same with this. Yeah, let's move this out. Update WebAmp position. This is just a big thing that doesn't need to be right there. Maybe this doesn't even need to be. Wait, where did I put this? The wrong place. That's where I put it. These are the functions I was looking for. Yes, so now how many places do I need this get WebAmp thing? Is it just that one place? No, I need it on onClose and for a pending child. Okay, I need it in a bunch of places. So should this thing export it, or should it just be, yeah, it should be part of the functions. Close this. There we go, that exports as well. What's it complaining about here? Now I have to re-import the stuff. Center position, yeah, I gotta re-import that. Update this. And then we don't need a few things here. There we go. Making the thing a bit smaller slowly. And then what's missing from here? What's this complaining about? Missing return type. Oh yeah, what am I returning here? Nothing, it's void. There we go. So this will just update the WebAmp position based on the, it needs the CI. Why does it need the CI again? Oh yeah, because it sends this function here, which doesn't need to be exported anymore, I guess. Close equalizer still does. We'll put this at the top then, because this doesn't need to be exported. Just for some kind of logic, I guess, to organizing our stuff. Okay. So we've cleaned up the WebAmp one a bit. Now it's 80 lines at least. I have it shrunk a bit though here. I've minimized these little pieces. Minimize this, minimize that. It's a lot more simple to understand now, which I prefer. And presumably it still works. Yeah, so it's still centering the way I want it to. So let's just save that. And now the z-index still works. Yeah, so this is in front of this. Now I don't have the focus thing working properly, so this isn't going, that's not working yet. Maybe we'll do that next, possibly. All right, what have we changed here? Let's take a peek. So we moved some of the functions into the functions thing, the updating the WebAmp position, getting the WebAmp element. We've moved there. We don't need to export this anymore. And then here we've removed a lot of that stuff to kind of clean it up a bit. We check if the position exists instead of checking just one of the, either the X or the Y, which was a little weird. And we switched to z-index 1 for now. Okay, so what did this accomplish in the end? I guess it's just a refactor. Refactor WebAmp to be a tiny bit lighter. Okay, what's the next big refactoring we can do? So the next, what is my wish list of things that need to do? Let's define track. We have a type here. Yeah. So the initial tracks is not a string array. It's an array of tracks. Yeah, track. Type track equals, and I have it already written down somewhere, so let's just see if we can find it. Because it has a little inside knowledge. So yeah, so this is WebAmp specific stuff. It needs a URL, and it doesn't need this metadata, I guess. This could be optional. But I'm saying that we need at least a minimum of a title if you're gonna supply a track. Artist, we can let slide. Okay, so that was a simple one, and that shouldn't break anything. I'm not even using initial tracks yet. So let's say define track type for WebApp. Z-index we already did. So this is the next big one, which is being able to read the file. So for that, I'm just kind of trying to see how I did it, because it's not super complex. Well, let's think how we need to do it here. So we need to use this load tracks along with our track, and it needs to be here in the options. So it needs to be like load track metadata artist equals whatever, Bob, title Fred, and we need the URL, which is going to be probably based on a buffer URL or something, I guess. Now I'm just trying to see in the code where the heck I did this. It's unfortunate that I've confused myself to such a high degree, because it makes it harder to explain it to others, right? Don't you guys think? Here we go. Let's just copy this little line here that I have written in my code and see. So I have this line that I written in my other code. If options.initial tracks, then it gets, wait, what? Oh, this is for cleanup. Okay, so after it's loaded, let's say after we've already put the element in, as a final cleaning up step, I guess. Is it what this is for? No. Yeah, actually. I think right now I had it in my on close. Oh, I think we need it on close. In some cases, I've been able to clean up the buffer as soon as it's loaded, but with WebAmp, it seems to need that buffer to still exist. So when we close WebAmp, we're going to check the options. Where are the options coming from? I don't think they're passed here. I think we're going to need to set the options here. Is that what I've done in the past? I was passing it in. Let's not do that. So let's just call options here, and right now it's the z-index. And we haven't defined anything else yet. And then we need to populate initial tracks. Wait a minute, where are we here? Yeah, why is this here? This needs to be at the onClose piece right here. So yeah, when we onClose, if the option had the initial track, then we get the URL from there and we clean up the buffer URL, because we're going to use buffer URLs. So we need to add initial tracks. In what scenario? Okay, so, oh man, I have such complicated code. Why have I done this the way I've done this? Okay, so let's look at JS-DOS as an example here. So for the use JS-DOS hook, we read the file, the URL, before we load the files. So I would want to have it somewhere here, a read file command, in which we read the URL, which we don't even have yet. We have to get that from here. There we go. So we get the URL and read it. Should we check if a URL exists? I think so. That's what we do with the JS-DOS one, isn't it? And the others? Yeah. So before we go any further into it, we need to make sure we have a file system and a URL. And then if we have those things, we read the URL. And then at that point, once we've read the URL, then we load the files. Now the trick here is there might not be a URL. We might just want to open WebAmp without a URL. Now we actually don't have that scenario in other apps, But in WebAmp, it's more likely to happen. You might open WebAmp with nothing and then add something. So we should have I wonder what happens with read file. I guess if you read file and the URL's empty, it'll be quick and you'll get an error, but that's okay. Yeah, I think that's fine, honestly. Let's not even waste our time checking and loading differently. Let's just try to read the file. If there's no file, let's just move on. I don't know, from an efficiency point of view, I'm hoping that that's okay. So this structure is good to this point. And we'll just move this up here or something. Let's just get this out of the way, but keep track of it. So where is it here? It's this entire piece, basically. Let's just take this and put it in there then, and get rid of this. What are we missing now? We need more stuff? Probably. The URL. Okay, so FS, we don't even have FS yet. So that's the next thing we need. We need access to the file system. Use file system. There we go. So we need to add that to our dependencies too. And have it auto fix it again. So let's shrink a few things here. Let's shrink our dependency array. Let's even shrink this first. So yeah, so WebAmp loads, we get all the things we need, all the contexts, and then it tries to use the effect if it's got a file system and a URL. Oh, wait a minute. It might not have a URL. Right. Well, we've established that's okay, so we actually shouldn't even check that piece either. So let's not. So if there's a file system, read the file, then load WebAmp. Then if the container still exists, you build our WebAmp options. So at the point here where we build the options, we can know if there's an initial track based on if the URL existed. So let's just do something real sloppy right now for it. No, let's not do something too sloppy. Let us say here, if there was a URL, then options.initial. Is this even what I did in the old code? I don't know. It feels like it's not what I did before. That's why I'm confused what I did. Buffer to blob. Oh, okay. So the buffer is what I get, but I guess I need a blob. Wait, why do I need a blob? I don't. Oh, okay. Here's the initial track. I found the code, at least, that I wrote down. So it looks like this. Oh, I see what I've done here. So instead of having options, I've turned everything below here into a function. This piece here becomes a function called load WebAmp. I kind of like that idea. Maybe I don't need this to be within here then. Let's try this load WebAmp. Oops. There we go. And options will be here. And this will be what we'll pass in. That's like a default. So can we move load WebAmp outside of all this gerbily goop? That'd be nice. Let's try that. Let's put load WebAmp here even. Yeah, it even works way out here. So now we've just kind of defined how we want the WebAmp to load. So this is under the assumption that we already have access to the WebAmp on the window. We make the CI and then we just make our events here that are very simple at the moment. And now here, we can make this this is just focused on the options now. Maybe load WebAmp can be moved out too now. How many things am I using here? Am I using anything hook related? Oh yeah, set window state. I could pass that. Update WebAmp position. Yeah, if I pass set window state for on close, I could even define on close here. I just want less stuff inside the function. But let's be okay with load WebAmp. I think this is going to turn into that use WebAmp hook, and then it'll make a lot more sense and it'll be more clean. So load WebAmp, and we're going to pass in the options. For now, it's just going to be this. but in the near future, it's going to be more. Oh, now a lot of these dependencies don't make sense because they're outside here. That's okay, actually, though, honestly. Less dependencies. Or is it less or more? I can't tell. I think it's more. Now it's using this, too. This could be a callback, honestly. This is a use callback now. Yeah, I should just do use callback here because it's like move this stuff back in the effect. I don't think it suggests use callback, but that's the solution that will also work. So we'll turn this into a callback and then it won't complain anymore. There we go. Now it's not complaining about any of that. It's complaining about this because I haven't defined it yet. I haven't imported use callback yet. I think it's time to make that use webamp hook. Let's make it here. Let's call it use webamp. And what does use webamp return? It's going to return the webamp CI, I think. So const use webamp equals, I don't know what I'm going to give it yet. I know we're going to export the default webamp, use webamp. So we're making a webamp hook to use webamp. I should just call it Winamp from now on. It's easier to say. So let's take this big function here, the loading function, and move it in here. And that makes this 1,000,000 times smaller, and its dependencies. Yeah, most of this isn't used. Close isn't part of this. Container ref is, but it doesn't need to be. Yeah, it doesn't really need to be. I can now pass this into load webamp as well. So it's like, here's the container, here's the options, load webamp. Hell, this doesn't even need to be a full-size function now. Oh, I need to pass the contents too. So here's the container, here's possibly an MP3, here's the options, load webamp. I like that. So yeah, we load the file, we load the libraries, and then we say load webamp. So container ref we needed, fs we needed, ID we did not need here. Same with minimize and position and window state and this. Nice, much less stuff. Okay, so that's become 1,000,000 times smaller. This still is probably where it needs to be. For now. I'm gonna start making to-dos, in fact, in this. Replace with animation. With framer animation. That's my motion library that I have. That's still good there. So a few of these things I'm probably gonna be able to move over to this hook now. And let's see, because I'm just gonna start importing stuff until I can see more about what it's complaining about. Right, the functions, we're gonna copy that import here. Just easier. And let's just keep importing stuff. So we're gonna need the session thing. We can take pretty much everything from here and from here. Not everything from process, but these two pieces, I think at least, we can completely move over to here. This is the beauty of the custom hook, is when you can finally start extracting stuff out. Okay, so we're gonna need the ID as well, so that we can know a few things, right? Some of the stuff we might not need. Let's continue here. ID we for sure need, I think, if we're gonna know the position we want webamp to load into. Also, we're gonna need those two pieces. So let's also take that, and not this piece. We don't need that piece, I don't think. Fix whatever it's complaining about here. What's left? Webamp CI, okay, import that. Again, it did the imports incorrect. Thank you very not much. Rearrange that. Use processes, so many things to import. I wish there was like a button where it's like import everything that you know how to import right now. Just do it, Nike. So there we go. So now we're down to the few things we need still. We needed, right, we're not even using load webamp in this scenario. It'll become part of a use effect, I guess. a very simple use effect that basically just starts on load, assuming it has access to whatever it is that it needs. I don't even know what that is yet. Okay, so container ref and ID. What if we just pass those two things? Is that enough? No. Oh wait, maybe it will be. So here I'm passing more. Oh wait, I'm not even using a hook. This needs to be a hook. Oh right, it's a hook and it returns a load web amp command. So that would have the container ref. So the container is here. So what is it? Options? What were the things? The container, the MP3, and the options, right? The container. Oh wait, maybe we can just say the element here because we go current. So yeah, that's null. Otherwise, it'll be an HTML div element. So let's just say the element here. Container element as an HTML div element. We got the contents as a, or let's say file as a buffer if it exists, and that's optional. And the options also are optional. Or no, the options aren't optional. Let's say they are, but in theory they aren't, because I'm always going to define them. And the options right now are an any. I haven't figured that out yet, but I'll define them once I know which options I care about. So we'll call this container element now, and instead we'll just do, we don't need to do this piece anymore, or this. There we go. We still need to check that this element exists. It's going to be the first thing we do, because it might not. And we'll put everything in there. There we go. So now load web amp takes those three things that we know about, and if the container still exists, it does the things we want it to do to load web amp. So actually options I don't think needs to be passed. I can figure out options here based on all the circumstances, I think. And in fact, yeah, we can just create it. Yeah, we can create it here and we'll figure out, was there a file? Okay, we're gonna do loaded tracks then. So we'll do it right here. I'm trying to think of an elegant way to do it. I can't think of a nice one right at the moment. Because there's no elegant way to do it. Let's just do it the basic way. So I'll do like I said, where we have our z-index1. And let's add a to-do here. It's got a monitor for foreground, or base z-index on foreground ID equals ID. We'll get to that. Options, and then we'll just put a little condition in here where we deal with the file. So if there is a file, then we have to set the initial track to that data that I already have here. Options, oops. All right, I'm gonna copy this in the messiest way possible. There we go. Oh, I hate it. Options.initialTracks equals this object. There we go. So it's an array with one element in it. And currently we don't have the metadata figured out yet. I'm gonna dynamically do that later. So let's just get rid of that for now. But we do pass the URL where we do buffer to URL. We get that buffer that came from the file and we convert it to this URL. And options doesn't know about initial tracks because options is an any still. There we go. So we just need container element in this, and this is what gets exported. Yeah, we don't need the effect here actually. What am I doing? What we do need is to return the load web amp command. And we'll just say that this is an any for now. So we haven't defined all our types yet, but we have moved a bunch of stuff over here. And we don't need that now. And we'll import load web amp. Wait, what? Oh yeah, it comes from the hook. Let's get rid of all this stuff we're not using now. Oh, lots of stuff we're not using. Look at how much we get to clean up there. There we go. So we'll just declare the hook right here. Const load web amp equals use web amp. And you just have to pass the ID. Is that all we decided to need in the end? Yeah, you need the ID for here, and otherwise you don't need any of that stuff. Fix this import here. Oh, it's not happy with that. It's in there, silly goose. All right. Nice. Oh, and we have to also add it here. So there we go. So now I've shrunk nothing, and now the web amp index is much tinier. Now it's very much just getting a little bit of process stuff, and it's doing the web amp hook is doing the rest here. So we got a file system, we read the file, we load the library, and then we do load web amp. And then load web amp is handling everything else here. And it should also be getting the audio file. I'm not 100% sure, but let's just see how close we are here. So I'm gonna clear my cache for the OS that I've got in front above us here. And then I'll reload, we lose Quake. Now I'm gonna drag an MP3 on here. I don't know which one. Which one can I drag on so that you guys think I'm cool? Let's do Chevelle's the Red. That's a dark one. Okay, so let's try it. We double click. And something loaded. So we didn't have any metadata, so oh, what happened? Cannot cancel a locked stream. Oh, interesting. It read it in the end. I wonder how it did that. It was sure slow. So it did properly pass the buffer enough to get that. I don't know what this error is though, but let's try it now, double clicking. Cool. So at least partially it did work. And I have it muted so we're not going to hear anything, but now clicking an MP3 from our file system did work. So that's cool. Failed to execute cancel on readable stream. So that I don't know about that. I wonder if it tried to do some kind of cleanup magic that I didn't want it to do yet. Could it have been that this onClose cleanup got triggered here? Let's check it out. Let's see, we'll put a little hello here. That's the most technical way to do it. It's a joke. Reload the page here. So if we open up the MP3, did hello ever trigger? Oh man, and it's super laggy right here. No, okay. I wonder if this is because of the metadata not being there, if like WebAmp is trying to do something to read it. Let's put some metadata there just to calm it down. Let's say the title, actually let's just do the legit information here. The title was, what was the title? The Red. And the artist is Chevelle. Was it? I don't know what the heck it was. Ugh, I got my Windows bonkers here, so I can't see the things that are right in front of the screen. Here we go, Chevelle's the Red. So I've defined the metadata. Oh, and I have to put some commas that I forgot. Now I'm gonna reload the page here. So now when I double click, it's not gonna look for metadata because I've already provided it. Hard-coded currently. Let's see if that stops the error. So I double click, so the title shows instantly. Yeah, there's no lag at all anymore. So I basically don't want it to be doing the reading of the metadata because it's garbage at it. So otherwise it was perfect and it loaded the MP3 just the way I wanted. So that's nice. And it cleaned up, I saw the hello message, so it cleaned up when I expected it to. So now that we have this piece of information, this is pointless doing this. Let's just do this. Why am I doing that, right? Come on, Dustin, that's silly. There we go. Let's make this a one-liner and not give ourselves a headache. Or, oh, okay. When Prettier does that, I would rather put the brackets in if it's not gonna one-line it. Anyways, that's cleaner. If you got tracks, then do that. Actually, could I go one step further? Not really. I ended up adding more lines in the end to go one step further, so maybe not. Here's my idea. So maybe this is okay, but I do it up here. Because we know, well, no, because we know options will exist and we know initial tracks might exist. No, I don't like that either. Let's just do what I did before and just take this piece. Oh, wait. This was like that. So this could be undefined, but then this is like an array. There's just so much going on here. Let's just do this. There we go. I guess I could check the length of this. Oh, wait a minute. I'm doing so many things wrong here. This won't even work. This is an array. I'm saying from the first item in the array. Oh yeah, so I'd have to be like 0, and that's why I didn't do that, because I hate doing the 0 thing. Okay, it's fine the way it is. So there's a few types that I haven't messed with yet. This is a string. This I can specify. I can make a type for this called the WebAmp. Type called WebAmp. I don't like that. Call it WebAmp loader. Hook. Let's just call it WebAmp. This is a tradition I've done where the hook's name or the hook type is just the name of it without the word use in it. That's why I've decided to call it WebAmp, but this isn't really WebAmp. This is just giving us a WebAmp loader. That's why I hesitate to use it, but let's just try. So load WebAmp, and it's that. And does it give us anything? No, we don't get anything back from it. I think that's correct. Yeah, it's void. I should specify that here then. Okay, that looks good. And I've defined this, and we'll say that it's returning a WebAmp. So then this knows what load WebAmp is now. And now it's unexpecting here. Okay, yeah. So this can be optional. Why did it not fix it there? Oh, because it could be null. Oh, okay. I don't want that. So let's change it to be like this then, or null. And I have to do the same over here then too. There we go. It's okay with that now. So does our, yeah, so things still work. There's our music, it plays. So the next thing we need to do, because we had to hard code that to get past their garbage metadata calculation, we are going to do our own metadata calculator because I have another piece of code I've added to make that work. And it's actually incredibly easy. It's using another library here called JS Media Tags. Let's check it out. So it was the most popular one I could find. How many? It had like 500 stars. It's pretty much the one with the most stars for something that can read ID3 tags. And yeah, let's just dive right into using it because it's not super hard. So we're going to install it. npmi JS Media Tags, like so. And that's a dependency, not a dev dependency. I don't think it has, I think it comes with types, so I don't think we need to install types. So let's just go right into using it. Oh, wait a minute. Does that make sense what I just did? No, I don't want to do that. So I actually want to install that. So I actually want to load it as a library. That's where things get tricky. Maybe we just do this without this piece for now, or we just leave these blank. Let's do that. See if that works still. Yeah, that, oh wait, does it try again? Okay, when it's blank, it doesn't freak out at least. When there's no metadata, it tries to get the metadata, but it seems to do it inefficiently and cause an error for some reason. Maybe I'll just try to solve that instead of dealing with this metadata solution right now, because I don't have a clean one yet. Yeah, maybe we just be happy to say that we've refactored WebAmp and now we can load MP3s. Yeah, let's make that, that's the next step that we've done here. So let's at least get that in the books. WebAmp can load MP3s plus refactored. Not the best description, but the code is in a functioning state for WebAmp and it's cleaner. So the WebAmp piece is much cleaner now, the index. This I got a to-do on it to get rid of it. This seems good as it is. Actually, no, because I need to load more libraries. So I'm gonna have to add a library for media tag reading, assuming I can't figure out how to make the metadata reading work properly. And I'm also gonna need to add one for the butter churn stuff, which I haven't added yet, but I think we could probably do the butter churn one today too, because that's a fun one. So we're not going to worry about parts of it, but here is the butter churn piece. Let's just copy this and just start working through the logic of it. So let's go back to the load WebAmp. hook we have here. And in the options here we go. So we're just going to add a butter churn one right there. And this is the index comment goes to here now. That's referencing this piece. So this is an internal option that they have called underscore butter churn options. And it's essentially how they have it set up to load it. So I might tweak this in the future, but this is the way it's formatted right now. Import butter churn has got this promise resolve butter churn. So we need to load that script as well. That needs to exist. Same with this one here. This preset one needs to exist. And then it gets presets and returns. Yeah, pretty much this is just the boilerplate that comes right from WebAmp's page. If we go to WebAmp here, their GitHub, and we look at their examples and their minimal milk drop example, that's where I got this from here. That's exactly what, it's the same thing. You see that's where I also got this metadata idea from. I don't specify duration, but not necessary. Most of the code, as you can see, just came from right there. So I'm not even going to change this for now because I don't really know what it does, but let's just be okay with that. And let's fix these types. I have defined them here. Oops, I got it there. So in the types and the declaring of the window, we're going to add these other pieces. So we're also going to say butter churn and butter churn presets are also part of the window object. And the get preset takes the preset key, which is a string, and we don't know what the preset data is. Same with butter churn, we don't know what that is, but we don't need to worry about what they are. We just need to make sure it works. So yeah, I don't, oh, I do have WebAmp options, do I? Yeah, oh, I actually have this WebAmp options here. Am I using this? Oh, I'm using it in the constructor. So there's somewhere where I wasn't defining it. I'm trying to remember where. Here, I think. Oh yeah, here I'm just saying options is anything, but I can say the WebAmp options. That's a real thing that exists. I'm not exporting it, I guess. That's probably why I didn't remember it. Okay, I need to export this because I'm actually going to use it in a few places. Yeah, here I'm defining it. Now I can import it. Nice. Yeah, now I need to also say that this exists. And its structure is not unknown, but it's irrelevant. It's like this and this piece. Let's just say unknown. It's not unknown though, so let's not say that. It's two functions. This one returns a promise. It's unknown to me the purpose of it, so let's just leave it at that. Okay. Otherwise, there's no more any's there that I can see. That's every type is defined there now. Cannot read property get presets. Oh yeah, because I'm not loading that library yet. So that's what I need to add here into the WebAmp libraries now. I have to find the files. I copied them, so I'm just gonna download them here. I have the latest ones. For anyone that doesn't know what butter churn is, by the way, it's essentially the same visual. It's a music visualization of just animated visuals. It's the same as what used to be called milk drop, basically. I mean, it's not the same, but it's what they've tried to recreate. So I'm going to, in the libs file of my WebAmp, I'm going to paste those in there. And now we see in the VS Code here, I've added them in. So they're in the public libs WebAmp. I've added the butter churn pieces. The files, and then we'll just add them in to this entry here. And there could be an argument made that if people disable the using the request for milk drop, that I could stop loading these, but I'm just going to load them every time because the first time you won't have ever used it, and I want it to be on by default, and then every other time, well, I mean, on subsequent loads of the page, if you reload and come back, let's not worry about it. That's a pre-optimization thing. So here we go. So we got butter churns. They're in the wrong order, probably. Let's say butter churn loads before the WebAmp stuff. There we go. Okay, cool. So there it is right here, in fact. Oh, sorry, guys. I forgot to switch to the code again. So I just pasted in the two URLs and pressed save, and it actually just worked. So let's reload this and open up WebAmp again. Actually, let's open it with an MP3. Let's reload again. So we open up with the MP3. So you see we got our milk drop here. And if we make it bigger and we press play, there we go. So we get our cool visualizations. Now I don't think I think that's what this preset stuff is as far as being able to change it. I don't know how to change it now. So we'll have to think about ways to be able to adjust and get the cool presets that we want. But for now, it's pretty cool. I think the presets are all these different animations. So by getting them all, I can have, it just kind of cycles through them, which I'm perfectly fine with. And this can go full screen and stuff too. I think it's a cool addition. I'm thinking in the future, I might have this not show at the start. And then when you press play, it appears. I don't know. Or maybe I'll have it like this. This is kind of nice. It's not so bad. Or maybe it looks better with the playlist, like this piece here, and them all the same height. Like that. It looks a little silly at the moment. Because then if you're not in a video, this would just be black. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't remember that position either. I got a lot of work to do. There's a lot of logic here for all the way that this works. Okay. I mean, that doesn't look so bad as an on load. And you'd have an item here, I guess. Yeah, I need to think about it a bit. But anyways, I've added the functionality. I could always go in and disable it from loading, like here where I have close equalizer before I even add it to the DOM. I could close other things too, so milk drop doesn't appear at the start. But there, it's added. So yeah, we just added to the imports, updated the types a bit here. And yeah, we just added that piece that's boilerplate right from their code. Okay. Added milk drop to Winamp. Let's use the other terms. There we go. So what did we do? We got butter churn. We didn't do the read MP3 part yet, but I want to see when there's no metadata, that freezing and then where it showed, I want it to not freeze, and I want it to not give an error, and I want it to be faster. If it can do all those things, then I'll let WebAmp handle this. Otherwise, we have to bring our own ID3 library in to read the tags, which was this here, which is the same as, oh no, this is two pieces. I got it reading the URL now, not the ID3 tag. I fixed the z-index, and we have the focusing a little bit, not completely. I want to try one thing. If I open up WebAmp here, and then I open up Winamp, so it's behind, but then if I go into that z-index thing and change it to 2, where is the z-index? That is the z-index. Actually, this isn't gonna, it would work on load maybe. No. I'm gonna do the foreground, background stuff another day. Same with the ID3 tag stuff. Let's start making notes for next stream here. WebAmp ID3/metadata reading. Data can be small letters there. And also the better window positioning. No, I think we need to find a way to do milk drop properly. Position or hide milk drop on load, and foreground/background focusing. So WebAmp needs a lot of work. That's where it gets tricky, you know, with this OS, is like to add an app, you have to kind of install it, and to install it, you need to do all these things to make it work within your environment, kind of, with my environment, basically. So we made a lot of progress with WebAmp today, and with other little things involving the file manager, and I think we'll leave it at that for now. Where are we at now? We're at 2 hours, 40 minutes. We've made progress, definitely. We've improved a lot of things, as always, cleaned the code up, less things in the way. So I'm happy with where we're leaving off. So yeah, I think we're done for this stream, and we're gonna do more WebAmp stuff next stream, and maybe some start menu stuff, more refactoring, who knows, you know? I mean, what are we now? We're in mid-May. I'm talking about posting this thing in January. So we got the sky's the limit, you know, and we got a lot of episodes left to come. So thanks for sticking with me. Like it if you liked the video. Throw me a subscribe, please, so that you guys can keep up on what's going on. And with that, I bid you guys adieu, and see you in the next one. Bye.